Hello and good morning to everyone. Welcome for this webinar by CiTL, and I will be representing our director today, Ma'am Amphi Dinagsaw. So, basig makuratan mo nga ako ang nasa picture, pero ang nasa pangalan niya is Amphi Dinagsaw. So, Ma'am Amphi is actually also joining an equally important webinar as of the moment. So, my name is Rojien V, one of the program heads of CiTL, and I will be hosting this webinar entitled "Making the Constructive Alignment by Revisiting the Curriculum Maps, COs, courses, and Redesigning the Syllabus." Okay, so for this, this will be our flow for today. So for preliminaries, we will be discussing reminders on virtual etiquette and quests. The next part is making the transition, teaching flexible learning. Then after that, our main speaker for this is Engineer Rojien V. I guess most of you knows him. He is the chairman of the Electrical Engineering Department and one also of the heads of the CiTL. So he will be discussing to us what is OBE Framework, revisiting the curriculum map, and redesigning the syllabus. And after that, maybe approximately Engineer Morcilla will be discussing this to us for about an hour and a half, or approximately, just an approximate, depends on Engineer Morcilla. And after that, we will be proceeding to the open forum. Okay. Then, of course, the closing message and the Zoom pictorials, very important one for documentation. And after that, we will be sending you the evaluation links, the presentation handouts. It will be sent to your emails or your e-certificates. These are the webinar etiquette and requests. First is mute your microphone, unmute only when speaking. Okay, so para dire-diretso po tayo. Then, use earphones. Kasi based on experience, mas maganda if earphones yung ginagamit natin para hindi tayo masyadong ma-distract sa mga ambient noises sa surrounding natin. Try not to interrupt. Okay? Raise hand to participate in the open forum and speak only when acknowledged. Find a quiet place and avoid multitasking. So para mas ma-maximize natin at mas ma-absorb yung discussion later ni Engineer Morcilla, it's way better po if we just focus on listening attentively to his discussion. Then extend patience and understanding. Maybe sana naman po hindi mangyari na may mga technical glitches or may technical difficulties or sudden slowing of the bandwidth. So sana po hindi yun mangyari. But if in case na mangyayari po, we are asking for your patience and understanding. Okay, some notes, reminders, and requests during the webinars. So thank you for logging in ahead of time. We will activate the waiting room as a sort of locking the session after a few minutes from the start. If you get disconnected, we will fetch you from the waiting room. So please log in again. We only do this for participants who joined us from the start. Use real names. Use real names. So, if possible po kasi may iba dito na yung mga pangalan ay mga model ng phone nila. So, if possible po, can you change your names for documentation purposes din po and for veracity of everything. Then, use the chat features only when there is a need to express concerns and if the related topic being discussed. Use private chat if the issue you want to express concerns a certain person only. So, e-certificates with QR code for validation and presentation handouts will be emailed after the session. Only participants who have joined the entire session will be given an e-certificate. Okay. So, I think so. I will now proceed about some discussion about this, the importance of this webinar on making the constructive alignment by revisiting the curriculum maps to be discussed by Engineer Morcilla. So just a slight overview and prelude. So COVID-19 pandemic forces HEIs. We are involved with this to consider other means of delivery of instruction. Then campus may be closed, but learning must not stop. Okay, so this is the new normal. Most of us are going to do what we call synchronous and asynchronous mode of educating our students. So amidst the pandemic, we should never stop. Learning never stops, is what they say po. So, and students' different situations from HEIs to consider a more inclusive learning. So with this, we're all in this together. We need to prepare ourselves for this new normal, and since synchronous teaching, flexible learning is already what we should be doing, let us help each other po to give the students a sense of direction of learning, even though we are not always there for them, but with our instructions, but with the modules we are preparing for them, I hope it is strategically packaged for them to do what we call self-directed learning and motivation to learn amidst our absence. Okay po? So, as what Chair Dr. De Vera said, flexible learning is a broader term that focuses on the design and delivery of program, courses, and learning interventions that addresses learners' unique needs in terms of pace, place, process, and products of learning. It does not necessarily require connectivity. So, more practical solution amid the coronavirus threat is to move toward flexible learning, which uses digital and non-digital. So how do we see this flexible learning? No face-to-face class, not pure online class. And learning packets may be available, course resources on the learning management platform. So, di ba, gagamitin natin yung USTP. We're learning it and we need to master it the most efficient way possible. So how do we see this flexible learning? Download resources can be downloaded at one time. Course modules, PowerPoint with lecture videos, reading materials, handouts, link to websites, and assessment tasks. So faculty may be online during orientation, consultations, feedbacking, and anything done online by the faculty must be recorded for students to view at their convenience. So that's asynchronous. Kasi yung pagkakaiba ng synchronous at asynchronous, yung synchronous is yung real-time talaga na connectivity with the students. Yung asynchronous is pwedeng they can download the modules and periodically, maybe once or twice a week, they can discuss. The instructor will have a session with them. So lab, studio, PE, NSTP, and similar courses may need to be redesigned to focus on non-negotiable course outcomes, considering completion to be done by students remote. So it's more of changing the design for the students, because as we all know, students don't learn in a uniform manner. Different personalities, different students, different ways of learning, different ways of thinking. So it's very obvious that we instructors need to create a strategy to cater most of these differences and diversity among students. So that's what's nice about adjusting for learning. So making the transition, teaching flexible learning. So content first, we start with the content development, then design of learning activities, teaching strategies, and assessment. So it's more on triangulation, what we want our students to learn in the first place. What are the activities for them to trigger these outcomes and to develop these outcomes along the way, and how to create justifiable assessment methods to justify talaga na whether they get these outcomes or not. Okay, so it's more on triangulation. We have 6 webinars for you. This is the very first one, making the constructive alignment and redesigning the course syllabus. Next, writing the course module guide and averting intellectual property rights. Webinar 3 is creating engaging presentations and facilitating understanding of content. Creating PowerPoint presentations with narration, subtitles, and video of the lecturer. Next is exploring the USTP, the e-portal, our very own e-portal, and moving face-to-face techniques to online. Then webinar 5, employing critical thinking strategies and creating editing lecture videos. And last but not the least is designing assessments to creating rubrics. So for now, with these 6, we start with the very first one, making the constructive alignment and redesigning the course syllabus. Okay, I think Engineer Morcilla is already very ready to share with us his wisdom and knowledge for this thing. So, Engineer Morcilla, are you ready?
Lloyd?
Sir Rojien? Okay, Sir Rojien, introduce muna kita, Sir Rojien, para may formality. Okay, so our speaker for today is CiTL Program Head of OBE, CDIO, Designing, Assessment Training, and Continual Quality Improvement, CQI Planning. So his name po is Engineer Rojien V. Morcilla. He earned his undergraduate and master's degree at USTP, formerly known as MUST, where he graduated BS in Electrical Engineering and Master in Engineering program, major in Electrical Engineering respectively. He is a certified CDIO master trainer. Iilan lang po to sila sa Pilipinas. So we are so We are so honored to have him trained at Singapore since 2014. So for almost for 6 years, Rojien have already been mastering this thing so-called CDIO and the Advancing CDIO, which was funded by Temasek Foundation. Since 2011, he is the department's chairperson of USTP CDO's Electrical Engineering Department.
Okay, good morning everyone. Am I clear? Okay. Sige. Can I share my screen, Lloyd? Okay, good morning everyone. What we're going to discuss today by revisiting the curriculum map. Basically, what we are going to discuss is on the program outcomes. As we all know, we're doing the OBE since 2014, and we have actually gone through these things: the program outcomes, and its alignment to our teaching and learning strategies as well as to our assessment. No, and we will be revisiting our syllabus later on, whether so that we could see that these things are aligned with respect to the delivery as well as to our assessment, no? And that we are having right now, important siya to the fact that we are not doing. We need to revisit this because this is not the today. What we are having is what we call the flexible learning, and for our syllabus, what is important there is that we should be able to reflect these flexible learnings. What we're going to do is that we will be able to see, no, unsa day what area in our syllabus that we are going to focus as we revise our those new faculty in the university, no? Because when we create the program outcomes of each program, they were not there. Is aligned to this particular outcome, and that particular outcome that course is very important to attainment for that particular outcome. So that is basically that we're going to discuss today, basically as we prepare ourselves in the first semester, no? So this is the flow of the presentation. We will be discussing a little bit of the, and this is important so that we be able to understand how this OBE works and how does all of these things are connected. And we also be discussing about the mapping with our program outcomes. How does this program outcomes being mapped to our this course outcomes, be able to map with the program outcomes, and some pitfalls of writing the course outcomes. So maybe some of us may have written their course outcomes before, and it's very important for us also to revisit the course outcomes so that we be able to improve the particular course outcomes, especially in today's situation, no? TLAs, the teaching learning activities, as well as your assessment. So these three are very important that it should be aligned, because if this will not be aligned, go along the way, no? And lastly, what we are going to discuss is redesigning the course syllabus. So we will be discussing what is the area of focus in redesigning. Sige, so this might be some questions that we have, no? What needs to be realigned, no? Especially with our syllabus, be redesigned in the syllabus. So these are very important, especially we are now preparing for this first semester, and this is not normal anymore. This is what we call the new normal, and it's important that be able to be prepared for this in the first semester. Okay, so this is the OBE framework of the USTP. No, as we can see in the front, our partners, no, are coming from the industry. Now, as we crafted the program educational objective with the OBE, we are gaining input from our stakeholders. We have the industry, alumni, the faculty, PTC, no, for engineering, the Washington Accord, no, for Seoul Accord, etc. International bodies, then the program educational objective. As you can see, it's aligned to that. And from these program educational objectives, then we can now see what are those particular program outcomes and student. Before we call this program outcomes as student outcomes, but now we call this now as program outcomes. So these are the skill sets, no? What are those? Then on the course level, no, in support to your program outcomes, we need to create the course outcomes. So meaning in every course that we have, project, and when I say program, it's actually the degree, no, that we have. So This course outcomes is important because this will be the one to support your program outcomes to be attained. So meaning, these things should be aligned. So dapat naka-align po ang ating course outcomes to your program in our courses. And this is now the basis as we are learning activities and our assessment in our courses that we are, as faculty, we are the one who is designing this one. So meaning, all of these things are aligned with respect to our program outcomes. No? Because as faculty, no, we are the one designing our outcomes-based teaching and learning. And if that outcomes-based teaching and learning that we are going to provide for our student is not aligned to that particular outcome, so therefore, part there that it will not be able to support the program itself. Okay, now as you can see also in each level, there is part there that there should always be an assessment. As your course outcomes, there's always assessment. We are going to revisit each of the level. So meaning we're getting the program level. It's based on the phasing of the program. For example, if your program is 4 years, no? So meaning when as well as your program outcomes. Okay, and your course outcomes, no, we are always revisiting this. That's why we are purpose is we have to improve. No? So we will see that the course outcomes that we have put there in our courses, in our syllabus, is it really in support to based on our data gathered from the previous class. So that's time you're going to assess, evaluate, and we have data to analyze so that we will be able to improve as a whole. So in such a way, this whole thing, in each level, there's always a continuous quality. As you can see in the framework, it's like a wheel that turns for quality. So this is the framework of USTP's OBE analyze every time we have our review. As we revise our syllabus, they will always should revisit the course outcomes that we put there in our program outcomes, as well as does it really be attained by our student based on our teaching and learning activities as well as our assessment being put there. So everything should be aligned so that it could be fit for everyone for continuous quality improvement. Okay, so just a short for those faculty who does not know this, new in the academe, for new faculty as well as for those part-time. When we say program educational objective, these are the vision of the program. After students graduate from the program, you vision for the student. So meaning this is on the alumni. What happens to your alumni? What happens to your graduates? Treat the program. So meaning when they graduate from the program, they have these skills. No? It's skills that we have designed that these skills are important for them to face the reality of we see that when they graduate, they are prepared for the industry because they have these skills and attributes. So meaning students from the university, from your program, you see that they have this, they are prepared. No? And the course outcomes is the skills and attributes of the students after finishing the course. Meaning when they finish the particular course, example, when they finish subject attributes, no, and we know that one in our courses that we are teaching, no. So it is very clear, no, that the difference between that's why we can see this in our syllabus, and the program outcomes is on the program level. That's why we can see this in our curriculum, in our program itself. The focus of ensuring the curriculum is very relevant to the phase of rapid changing environment. Now, as we crafted our curriculum, when we do our curriculum review before, we crafted all program. So, and mapping is one of the instrument that the program have used in order to see what are those skill sets, what are those creating a curriculum what is the program is envisioning is that, let's say for example, your program is 4 years. No, since the environment is fast changing, with your with your discipline, no? And say what will happen to them. So meaning, what are those skills that is important in the next 4 years? Meaning, we are not designing, and mapping is very important to that, to pinpoint what are those skill sets and attributes that is important in the future. Okay, so just a quick revisit. No? We revisit our mapping by, especially as we crafted our PO, so program outcomes. We conduct analysis to understand the forces of change. Then we identify opportunity in the next 4 years, in the next 5 years. If we are in the sciences, in the chemistry, so what would be the work in the chemistry, in the field of chemistry in the next 4 years? In mathematics, what is in the education, what would be the future of education? What are the opportunity attributes in meeting the challenges of reality? So what should be the skills and attributes of the students to meet these challenges and opportunities of the future work of our students? So other programs had used this STEP analysis in defining these different attributes. No? From this STEP analysis, what we did is we see the STEP stands for society, the technology, economy, the environment, and the political and legal area. So in your discipline, you can see this, no? We are an expert in our area. We can see this. What are the trends in these 5 areas in our discipline? And we can see now, based on this input, we can now see what would be the competencies that is needed for our students to meet these different things in the future. No? And with these skills and competencies, we can now see the program outcomes. Okay? Now, these program outcomes, as we crafted this, we know that some programs may have shared memos which they stated the program outcomes, but other programs does not have shared memorandums or PSG. That's why you're the one who is crafting their program outcomes and basing those things on these different inputs. Like for example, Washington Accord, that's for engineering, the Sydney Accord for technology, the Seoul Accord for IT, for computer, the CDIO skill sets. No? And we have also the 21st Century Industry 4.0, the Philippine Qualification Framework for our government. And as part of our curriculum review before, we invited experts from the industry. So they're the one is providing all the industry needs, etc. So these are our input in crafting the program outcomes. So medyo marami po tayong input, and we map all of these things to create the program out. We have in the electrical engineering department, we have this program outcomes that we have crafted, and this has been approved by the Board of Regents before we offer this new curriculum. So we have this 8 lesser, no? Based on what we see that the skills of the students needed in the future. Okay, so having this program outcomes, what happened was we now created the core fundamentals to solve complex engineering problems relevant to the field of electrical engineering practice. So now, what would then be the subject to support this program outcomes? That's why we now crafted this course in the program. So we map it also. We see that, let's say, for example, we have these courses, course 1, course 2, course 3. We map it with your program outcomes, which course supports an introductory course to an outcome, meaning that particular course is just introducing that particular outcome. So meaning in that course, if that course is mapped to that particular outcome, and it is I only for introductory, and E is enabling, a course that strengthens the outcome. So if it's E, it's middle na, pangkuan na, no? So it's enabling the course, and D is demonstrative. That's when just E or D in the mapping of the program, because as faculty, we are the one designing this particular courses, the syllabus, and the course outcomes there and our teaching and learning activities that provided for a student should be able to be aligned to this mapping, no? And for example, your course, you did as faculty, you didn't know that your course there is tagged as D in the program outcomes. What you have delivered there is that it's only at I or E, enabling only. So therefore, there's a misalignment in between. So meaning, especially for D, no? If your course is D, meaning that's the time that the student is really demonstrating in your class that particular outcome. So just like the electrical engineering, we have this mapping. So each program offered in the university, we have this mapping, no? We have mapping for professional courses. This one, map, as you can see, meron siyang mga I, meron siyang E, meron siyang D for that particular program outcomes. And there should be noted that for a particular program outcomes, there should always be at least 1D. So, 1D po yan. So, in every program outcomes, meron po yung 1D. Example lang pa to, no? So, it's important that as faculty, we know this mapping because we are the one delivering these courses, no? We map it with professional, we also have it with allied, as well as with our non-technical courses. So because, as we know, these different courses is supporting those program outcomes in our program. And everything is aligned, no? So it's important also, let's say, for example, if I am teaching an allied subject, no, I'm teaching, for example, I am electrical engineering faculty, I'm teaching in the electronics and I'm teaching this allied course, it's also important for me to know how does this particular course that I am teaching is aligned to them, to their program, no? But Basin Manggod, we thought that this particular course that you're teaching is aligned to this outcome, but it is not in their mapping. So that's why, and also this important there is that you will know also if it is I or D or E, no? I, E or D. No? Whether your course I lang ba yung nakatag doon or D or D, E lang ba siya, no? So, and also for Gen Ed, no, as is aligned to this particular outcomes of the program because, again, these courses is supporting that particular outcome. So, what is then important in the curriculum map? Curriculum map should be known and understood by all faculty, especially for new and part-time faculties. But why I said it's for new and important for new and part-time faculty, because new faculty was not there when we craft our program outcomes. Part-time faculty also is not there when we craft our program outcomes. And for those faculty in our department, it's also important for us to revisit and check this mapping, no? Because we are always delivering these courses that we are teaching, no? And it's important for this new and part-time because so that they will know whether their course is what particular outcome they are supporting, whether also what particular level is either introductory, enabling, or demonstrative. And curriculum map of each program should be shared to Gen Ed and Allied Course Department. So meaning the program itself, no, the department should be able to share this with the Gen Ed and Allied Course so that they will know, no, you would say that, okay, this is how do we align in our curriculum and this is how your course is supporting to this program. So they will also know so that they can design their syllabus in line to support with your program, with the program outcomes. And this curriculum map is important because it will guide the faculty in crafting the course outcomes, no? So when we know that this is the program outcome, that this course is aligned to this program outcome, that is also an input to us with our course outcomes. So what is that course outcomes that we're going to put in our syllabus is also aligned to your program outcomes, okay? So before we go through that alignment, we have to revisit first no? Some understanding with respect to the course outcomes. No? When we say course outcomes, these are knowledge, values, and skills of learners are expected to demonstrate at the end of the course. So meaning that's why we put there at the end of the course, or the student are be able to. Okay, so these are learning outcomes at the course level, and it should be 3 to 5 per course. No, it should not be na marami, masyadong marami, or it should be lesser, because again, no, this course outcomes is supporting to your program outcomes. And if it would be so many, a lot of it, there's a possibility that your course outcome that you put there is not really supporting to the program outcomes. Or maybe if it's only some lang, maliit lang na number, it's either 1 or 2, there's a possibility that it would not be, parang kulang siya to support your program outcome. So meaning it should only be exact. That's why we are promoting that it should be 3 to 5 per course. No, and must be coherent set that captures the essential outcomes. Again, no, it is an essential outcome. So yun lang pong mga essential na outcome, non-negotiable. Those are non-negotiable skills that the student should have. No, say there should be no redundancy, because maybe if you were put there 10 outcomes, the problem there is that there could be redundancy. Okay, baka po pabalik-balik na yung skills ng students, no? And must be measurable, no? And since it is measurable, it can be assessed. No? The outcome can be assessed, and the level must be specified. No, important po yung level, because as you can see in the mapping of the program outcome, if your course there is tagged as I or D or E, the way you write your course outcome should also support that one. That is, it is in introductory or enabling or demonstrative. No, so the course outcomes must contribute to the alignment of the program outcomes. So meaning they should be aligned. No, so as you can see in our OBE framework, they are aligned. No, naka-align po yung mga from the program until to the course level. So meaning everything should be aligned to your program. So also can be found in our syllabus is the ILOs, or the intended learning outcome. Now, the difference between your ILOs and your course outcomes is that these particular ILOs are specific to the lesson. It's a building block towards your course outcomes. So meaning it is supporting your course outcomes. That's why you put there, nasa column po siya na in every topic. Let's say for example, particular topic, they have an activity, and that particular activity will be able to make the students like this. So that's why it's an intended learning outcome, specific to a particular topic or a lesson in your course. So statement that specify what the learners are be able to know or able to do as a result of the learning activity. So if you know activity, so that's why when we say ILOs, it's on the context of think, feel, do. What are the students are able to think, to feel, and do if they're going to do that particular activity. So that's why ILOs are expressed in terms of cognitive, psychomotor, and even aptitude or the behavior of the student. Okay, so and this, as we write our course outcomes and our ILOs, it follows this Bloom's taxonomy. I'm sure everybody is very well versed to this, no? From this Bloom's taxonomy, because as we know that the course outcome, when you see outcome itself, it should be measurable. It should be smart. It should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bounded. So it's clear. It's clear to the student. So that's why we should follow this Bloom's taxonomy. From the lower level of thinking, remembering, the higher is understanding, apply, application, analysis, evaluation, and the highest one is create. Okay? So to guide us, we have this table, some of the Bloom's taxonomy verbs that we can use as we craft our course outcomes. From remembering, when we say remember, this is retrieval of knowledge from long-term memory. So memorization, memorize. So that's why part of the verb is define, describe, label, list, match, recall, recognize, and state. Those are some of the verbs. Understand? is construct meaning for instructional message, including oral, written, and graphic communication. That's why some of the verbs are classify, compare, no? Compare, discuss, exemplify, explain, interfere, summarize, translate. Those are some verbs. No? Apply, the application is carrying out procedure in a given situation. So yung procedural po. And verbs are apply, change, choose, demonstrate, execute, implement, prepare, solve, and use. And analysis is breaking the material into parts. So we say breaking into parts, that is analysis. That's why the verbs are analyze, attribute, debate, differentiate, distinguish, examine, organize, and research. And next to the highest is evaluate. That's when they make judgment. So make judgment based on the criteria and standards. That's why the verbs there is appraise, check, critic, and even judge. No? And the highest thinking skills is to creation. No? So put element into form of coherency. So the verbs there is compose, construct, create, design, develop, formulate, and generate, invent, make, organize, plan, and produce, and propose. So it's important for us to see that if I am teaching this subject and this subject is tagged there as enabling, so what would then be, how do I write my course outcomes? Baka po kasi yung course outcomes na nalagay natin, na enabling lang pala yung course natin, is that maybe it's masyadong higher yung thinking skills niya. So maybe it's so high that it is demonstrating na yung course. So, and also on the contrast, there could be a possibility that we write there, our course there is tagged as I, introductory, is tagged as D, but when we write the course outcome, it seems to be written at a lower level thinking. So that's why it's important for us to know this Bloom's taxonomy and how we write with our course outcomes. Okay. So in order for us to guide as we write our course outcomes, this is the checklist. No? Describe the students that will do differently as a result of the course. No? It's a different essential skill, no, to be able to do. And describes meaningful learning. So meaning those are meaningful learning lang, and is measurable and accessible, representing high level of thinking rather than trivial tasks. So it's important po. Later on, we can see that some course outcomes are written as a task rather than written as a thinking skill. Okay? So maybe baka po na naguluhan lang yung instructor as they create their course outcomes. Okay? And it's written in plain language so a student can understand. So it's important that our course outcome is written that students are able to understand, because we are writing this course outcomes for our students. Okay, some other notes are manageable in number. That's why we said that it's only 3 to 5 in number. It should be balanced, practical with practical and theoretical understanding as appropriate to the course. Okay, do not overlap. Okay, do not overlap, no redundancy. And describe all the significant and essential learning in the course. So as I've said, it's only those essential learning, or what we call non-negotiable skills for that particular course. So these are some example of course outcomes that is okay. Example, this one is explain the importance of a design review. So it's clear, no? Design and analyze test plan for use in program testing. Diagnose and repair heating and air conditioning system, including automated system. One is apply basic laws, theorems, and some elementary networks topology to create actual circuits as a team. So it's clear for the students. And compare and contrast the basic characteristics and responses of circuit elements such as resistors, inductors, capacitors, DC-driven, and sinusoidal excited circuits. So these are some of okay na mga course outcomes. It's measurable, and it's, as you can see the verb, it is clear that this is what the students will be able to do as an output of the subject or this course. Now, some example of ILOs, intended learning outcomes, specific for a course, for a topic. No? Example, this one, solve and analyze simple circuit using Ohm's law. So because, for example, in in electrical engineering, we have a topic of Ohm's law. So, as you can see po, nakalagay po yung particular topic there. So, be able to solve and analyze simple circuit using Ohm's law. Identify electrical symbols used in electrical plant. So, particular topic on electrical symbols. Discuss and explain the electrical consumers' rights and obligation towards proper use of electricity. This example of there. Identify and the regulatory bodies involved in reform of electric power industry. And use simple linear regression to build empirical models to engineering data. So it's tagged. It's tagged to a particular topic. Yun po yung difference. But they are the same outcomes. The only thing there is that ILO is supporting your course outcomes. So these are some pitfalls of writing the course outcomes. Now, these are actually actual course outcomes that we have. Now, when we go to different campuses, satellite campuses, even major campuses in the system, we gather the course outcomes, and these are the things that we have noticed. These are the things that we have seen with the different course outcomes written by the faculty in the system. Okay, so these are some pitfalls. First one is teacher's perspective. No, this example is written in teacher's perspective. Kumbaga, it does not move pa from the traditional na before to the outcomes based. No? So, example, acquaint the students with names and uses of parts of the blah, blah, blah. Okay? I just put there blank for the purpose so that everybody will not identify what particular subject or course may be. No? So it's written on the perspective of the faculty, of the teacher teaching. No? As you can see, as we know, that when we say outcomes, it should be written on the student's perspective, what the student will be able to do or have the skills of the students. No? Prepare prospective teachers to become, so that's teacher's perspective. Provide students with strong foundation for understanding the relationship between among. So it's more on written as teacher's perspective. Okay? This one also is too general and not measurable. Example, understand the identifying characteristics of major class and families of blah, blah, blah. So, okay, understand. However, the verb understand may not be measurable sometimes. When you put understand, dapat na pa siya sumpay nga something to measure understanding. Okay? So this one is not measurable. This one is another thing. It's too general and not measurable. View the ocean as a dynamic environment. So how can you see that they're viewing the ocean as a dynamic environment? It's not measurable. Interact effectively with parents and children. With develop appreciation and interest. So how can you measure appreciation and interest? So it's question of not measurable. And we should be careful when writing a verb that is in line with emotion, because it's very important so that when we say emotion, it might be not measurable. No, that's another one. That's like appreciate use of various blah blah blah. So how can we measure appreciation? No, and discover and further develop resources and capabilities to be used in personal life by directing their professional decision and actions of preparing them for life. So it's more on too general. Okay, this one is too many skills. So pang marami, no? It's important that when we write the course outcome, it should be for one course outcome, it's one skill. Example is one: design, calculate, and apply subnet math. So meron pa tayong tatlong verb na nakalagay. So maybe you can just write there apply subnet math, because when they apply, that's part of application is they are designing, they are calculating. So you just put there one verb, no? Subnet math. Another one is assess what kind of model and hero was result. Excuse me, and demonstrate his contribution in our country as in connection to his life and work. So maybe this one can be split into two. Assessment is different, demonstration is different, no? And the other one is ito po, masyadong marami, no? It's too long, too many skills. Understand and describe basic switching concept and operation of Cisco switches, enhanced switching types such as, so it's so many skills in one statement. So siguro we can break this one. You can break this course outcomes. Okay? So this is what the example of what I have said before, no? You may write some faculty is writing the course outcome as an activity or a task. Example, mount an art exhibit or install gallery walk demonstrating appreciation of blah, blah, blah. So this one, mounting an exhibit is a task. It's a task for the student. It's an activity. It's not an outcome. What is an outcome is why you're making that particular exhibit. Why you let them mount an exhibit. So what outcome are you trying to measure? Conduct a seminar that deals with blah, blah, blah. So conducting a seminar is a task. However, the question there, what the outcome there is, what's the purpose of that they're going to have that seminar, conduct a seminar? What the outcome is? Create a prototype. Create a prototype might be an outcome in some cases, but in also other cases, a prototype is a task that you need to create a prototype. However, the question there is, why you are going to create a prototype? What particular outcome do you want for the student to have? What skills or attributes do you want the students to have? That's the important thing there. Independently participate in activities outside of class. That is also a task. No? And it's worse because it's outside of the class. So it's a thing there that this our example that faculty is writing the course outcomes as a task rather than a skill or a competency. Okay? So try to revisit, but maybe baka po some of our course outcome in our subject or in our course is written this way. No? So this is good as a task. However, the question there is what particular skills and competencies that you're trying the students to develop. Okay? Okay, so much for that. Hopefully, it's an open eye for everybody. That this is how we write the course outcomes. It's just a review, no? And in our syllabus, you also have this, where we map the course outcomes to your program outcomes. Okay, so this course outcome is supporting this because this CO2, CO3 is supporting to this particular outcome, and it's important. And we map it also in IED. Naka-IED po yan din based doon sa ating syllabus. Okay? So, this is how it looks in our syllabus. So, course outcome 1, 2, 3 is mapped to each program outcome, that it is aligned to that. Now, when we write our IED there in our syllabus, no, what is our basis? Now, the basis there is that since your course or subject is supporting to your program outcome, the basis is the mapping in the curriculum. So meaning, we should cross-check the course outcomes to your curriculum map. So for example, this subject is Electrical Circuits 1. So this is the course outcome. So meaning, as you can see here, this electrical circuits 1 is E in a particular in A. So I can see now that here in my mapping, dapat meron po yung at least isang E doon sa mapping ko doon sa syllabus. No? And if it is an I, it should be an I also. The worst thing there, if you do not know this mapping with your program, is that maybe when you map it there, the curriculum map that it says that it's D on this particular program outcomes. However, in your syllabus, you cannot find any D there in this particular program outcome. So there's a misalignment between your program and your course that you're teaching. So that's the worst case that will happen. That it's tagged there as D, but your syllabus only says it's I, it's E. No? And also, it's in contrast, maybe it's tagged there as I. However, in your syllabus, it's D. So it's not aligned. It's not supporting anymore. Okay? So revisit it and check this whether it is really aligned to your curriculum. So, no, going back, it's alignment from the program to your course, program outcome, objective to your course outcomes. So everything should be aligned. And it's important as we also revisit our syllabus today when we prepare for the first semester. Now, if it is okay na, your course outcome is already aligned to your program, everything there is already okay, the next thing to do is to create or to design our teaching and learning activity, OBTL, the outcomes-based teaching and learning activity. So, next is, what is, if it okay na po yung course outcome, the question there is, what is the activity, what are the activities that is appropriate in order to reach this particular outcome? Ano po yung mga activities na pwedeng ibigay ko sa student that in order for them to be, to have that particular outcome or to reach that particular outcome. And after that is the assessment tools or approach that I'm going to provide for my students so that I can measure that really the students is demonstrating or having this, really reaching this particular outcome. So this tree is aligned. Okay? So hindi po yan pwedeng hindi ma-align. Kasi if this is your course outcomes and your activity is this and it's not aligned, so therefore there's a problem because you are not now doing this or creating a task or activity for a student, but it is not aligned to your course outcome. The worst thing there is that your assessment is not aligned. No, that's the time po na magreklamo yung estudyante because you're teaching your activity is in line with this, but when you do the exam, it's not aligned. No? Kaya po yung mahirapan yung ibang estudyante because of that. Okay, so this tree is what we call a constructive alignment. Should be a constructive alignment between these three areas and you can see this in our syllabus. And as faculty, we are the one crafting this from the course outcomes, the teaching and learning activities on your assessment. No? So we are the one in terms of new normal. What teaching strategies will I use? No, I cannot do face-to-face. What would be the teaching strategies that is fit for this? And how do I assess? What assessment that I will do? Now, the first thing important thing that we have to, before you create your activities or teaching and learning activities, your assessment, etc., understand first your student. Example, this is just gadgets. We are using this internet. So try to see if you have a student of 40, which of the students does not have with gadgets and without gadgets or can access internet or no internet access at all. And with gadgets, no? Kumbaga, 20% lang po yung perfect. We have now 30% that is the worst. No internet and without gadgets. So meaning, I cannot do a class that is always synchronous. And you can see that this is how I design my syllabus or my activities. No? So that because we are not only looking at the 20%. Baka po kasi when we design our activities, baka po 20% activities, the outcomes-based teaching and learning assessment, no, in line with our students' capabilities as of today. So try to see if this. So this is the example lang po ng isang demographic that we can use for us to create our to design our teaching and learning. So first understand your student because what we're doing is for, okay? So then we can have this different approach. No, these are the basic approach that we have, and I think CiTL will be also discussing this in our next webinar sessions. No, we have case-based learning. Probably do this in the virtual world or in the online, or if this is the demographic of my student, how do I, example, I will do problem-based learning. How do I do problem-based learning? Pwede to, hindi naman pwede yung strategy ko before face-to-face. No? So what would be fitted more fitting to these areas. I will not be discussing this in toe-to-toe because this will be part also of the CiTL's webinars. And the delivery modes, no? That's a time also if we identify which this is my teaching approach. I will use the flipped classroom. So flipped classroom before in my face-to-face is like this, but when we do this in online, this is how we look the flipped classroom. No? So we will revisit, try to see what would be the fitted delivery modes that I'm going to use in a virtual world. How do I do debate in online? Okay, so that's part of CiTL's webinars, no, in the upcoming. No, how do I do debate? Team teaching, no, because that's the normal thing. But when we say lecture in this flexible learning, that's another thing, no. So how do we do lecture? Do I need to do lecture online always? As I can always record my lecture and give it to my student. That's another thing. So we'll choose the delivery mode that is appropriate for that particular situation and the outcome. No. So also we try to do the learning assessment design cycle. No. So if we have already, when we say learning assessment cycle, it's like this. No. The first stage is establish the goals. That's why we create the outcome. Meron naman tayong outcome. Number two is we provide opportunities. That's why we create the teaching and learning activities for a student. We provide learning with this course outcomes and your activities. And the last part there, which is always missed by the faculty, is use the result for improvement. Use the result for ating kanina yung sa OBE, doon sa OBE framework ng university. We always have your assessment, evaluation, and data analysis. So this is the time po magamit natin yun, no? So step 4, we use you can see this one dito po sa middle, no? We gather data, we assess, and we evaluate. That's how we improve. It is for continuous quality improvement. So these are sample course level. We just choose which one would be fitted for our activities. No? Some may not be fitted for this. No? Also, this is in the classroom level po, na assessment, but in the program level as department chairs, this is how we look at things. No? So we have now your program outcomes that we have. We have these indicators and we have their curriculum mapping. In the curriculum mapping, we have their D. Yun po sa mapping kanina. And that D is an indicator of the program that, let's say, for example, if your course is tagged as D, course where the student is demonstrating that particular outcome. And in that particular course that you have, that's the time that the department is measuring these indicators. And part of that they have gathered, these are the assessment tools that for that particular course. So the department may gather your quizzes, may gather your major exam as an input for targets or standards for the program. So this is just an example. No? So it's important for us to know, I'll go back, that if your course is D, that's part of the continuous quality improvement. Another example of assessment in the program level is this. Example is direct assessment. These are some of the indirect assessment. Like for example, alumni survey. You can have survey, especially when we, as a program, when we assess the program in terms of test, it's the alumni. So that's why we do alumni survey. Even capstone project can be get as a data from you or have participated. Course evaluation survey. These are examples in the hierarchy of the CiTL's program of webinars. Part there is assessment, sign assessment. And I think, especially for their program educational objective, exit interviews, exam or comprehensive test. Example of this is our LCRP that the university is proposing, the Learning Continuity Review Program, wherein after, say for example, if you're a first year student, before you go to second year, you need to take the LCRP. This particular level of the student, based on the mapping, whether the students are really attain that particular outcome at this level until they reach the higher level to fourth year when they graduate. The student can, the department can assess whether really what they promise in the what the I or what they have envisioned on this program will at the end the students has really attained that particular skills and attributes. So that's one of the examples. Focus group discussion, focus groups, graduate survey, sorry, indirect data, maps. I will not go through this. Performance, portfolio, those are direct, reflective essay, rubrics, SWOT analysis. Okay, so when we go to the redesigning the course syllabus, so what areas when we do redesigning syllabus are we going to focus on? Okay, so the first thing that we are going to review, these course outcomes, your course is supporting to a particular program outcomes in your program, and it's important that this particular course outcomes is aligned to that program outcomes. So meaning the mapping there is the thing that we're going to revisit. Whether what I put there as I, E, or D is really, baka po kasi nakatag siya doon na I, and as we write our course outcome, it seems to be it's demonstrating. And another thing there is that maybe our course outcome is not written, it's not measurable based on the principle of writing the outcome. So maybe it's not smart as we write our course outcome. So we should revisit the verbs that we're going to use there. The CO1, CO2, until ilang po CO. Maybe also that maybe you have a lot of course outcomes and maybe there are redundancy in there. So we will revisit those things. So you try to see the alignment in your course outcomes, whether it's aligned to your program, how it is being written in terms of level, at correct level, it should be smart, shareable. Okay, so also you can find in our course syllabus this one. We have this course outline, the allotted time. On this first column here, we have the POs, the program outcomes, the suggested readings, teaching and learning activities, assessment, grading criteria, and remarks. So meaning, what area are we going to see to focus on? First is the core content. Okay, especially in this time po na situation na online, no, pandemic. That's why has put there what is only essential for the course, no? Especially for those teaching with subjects that are common. For example, I'm teaching calculus, and calculus can be found common courses. So meaning, especially po when we do our USTP, sa USTP po kasi it's important po that there should be one core content, because the student can see only, say, I'll go there to see calculus. I can only see, we have this bayanihan po. Now we have this bayanihan leaders, bayanihan teachers. That's the purpose of that. No? These bayanihan teachers, the leader, will be crafting this core content. Ano po yung core content lang for this particular? Another thing is the teaching and learning activities. Maybe we will revisit it. Baka po kasi hindi na siya aligned doon sa ating course outcome because we have already rewritten our course outcomes. And also, maybe our teaching and learning activity is not fitted anymore to this flexible learning. Example, I put their lecture, but what is happening now is not that lecture na face-to-face. So maybe I can revisit the activities that I have put there. No? Maybe it's not fitted anymore to the situation. So it's important that since you have changed your course outcome, you have evaluated it, and there's something that you have to change, your activities also will not be fitted anymore for the situation, and also with your assessment. Maybe your assessment there, you put your quizzes and your quiz. So maybe you can also, like for example, meron po dyang seat work. Wala po tayong seat work today because we are not having face-to-face. So we will revisit our assessment po. Okay? So, and another thing in our syllabus also can be found is our materials. Maybe po, we can revisit because, example, I put there whiteboard. We will not be using any more whiteboard because we are doing platform online. Whiteboard marker, LCD projectors. So maybe this materials is not applicable anymore with this focus of redesigning. Una po, identification of core content. Ano lang po yung core content, especially for those common course. identify only those essential and core content in your course that will support to your outcome. Okay? Appropriateness of the TLAs. Is your teaching and learning activities aligned to the attainment of your course outcome in consideration also with the student state and the flexible learning environment that we have today? Okay? And appropriateness of your assessment tools or approach. Is it appropriate in evaluating the student's performance in line with your course outcomes, with your teaching and learning students and the student state in line with your flexible learning that we have today? So that's the focus of our redesigning. No? And another thing, as we revisit there's a possibility as faculty, we can identify that I need this retooling. Okay? So, because this is not normal anymore. I'm sure we are expert before when we do the face-to-face. But now, when we have this flexible learning environment or delivery, no, maybe we have a question of how do I deliver this, and maybe I can identify what those particular areas that I need to be retooled. And what to do next is inform your department chairs, your deans, so that these things maybe relate to CiTL, and CiTL would be willing to help you on that area for retooling. Okay? So we can create now, then CiTL can create programs in order for us to support you for those needs. We will revisit our outcome. Try to revisit, especially from the program outcomes until your course outcome, are they aligned? And maybe especially for new and part-time faculty, no, maybe they do not know this curriculum map in our program, no. They do not know that we have these program outcomes, and maybe they do not know what is the use of the program outcomes, the course outcomes, no, in the program. And number two is we are going to redesign our syllabus. It's important because semester, and redesigning syllabus is the first thing to do to prepare us with this first semester. Revisit our outcome. Revisit. Tingnan po natin whether it is how the map, no, that's approved already. No, maybe also when we revisit our outcome, we can see that, oh, this outcome is not mapped correctly. No, now we cannot do it. We cannot do changes on it because this has already been approved by the board. So what you can do is just take note of that. Okay, just take note of that, because in the next cycle of revision, we can do that. We can implement those changes. No? So, but for now, we just revisit it. Balikan lang po natin yun, how it is being mapped, how it is being written, in how do I support, no, as faculty, how do I do now then the course outcome to support that program outcome, and those activities that I need. No? So you go to your syllabus and redesign your syllabus. Okay, everybody will be able to use as we prepared in this first semester in the syllabus, and because that's part of our task as faculty. Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody.